Tea has changed. Tea is weak now, whereas before it was strong.
Oh, no, isn't it awful?
Yes, it is awful.
I put more and more tea in the pot.
I'll put more and more and more in the pot because this undrinkable liquid is undrinkable.
I know, isn't it awful?
But don't take it out, I'll drink it.
Well, let me make you another.
Yes. I'll be all right once I've got all my books up.
Oh, of course you will.
There was something I wanted to ask you. Now, try and take this seriously, because I'm hoping to get at least 2 pages out of it.
You're going to start playing those games again.
What games?
Reducing me to hysterics so that you can write what I say.
You're not going to get hysterical about the tea, are you? I mean, there's a lot to get hysterical about, isn't there? Get hysterical about this mausoleum you made me buy. I shall lie in state in here. This is the room on a catafalque of television scripts.
Why television scripts?
They're foolscap and they're thicker. Tom Lawrence curled at my feet like a little dog. Always going to be cold in here, you know that, don't you? And there's the smell. Old books and septic tanks. Poor, not so septic tanks. Have you looked in that septic tank?
I most certainly have not.
I can't work in here.
Well, you'll have to until I get your room decided.
Oh, that's it. I'm the one who should decide on my room. I'm going to try next door.
You're not having next door.
If next door is the room, I'm going to have it. I shall carry out a test.
You can't work in there. That's going to be the library.
People work in libraries. I know a playwright who works in the British Museum.
George Hornbeam.
You don't know George Hornbeam.
Yes, I do. He was in the papers on Sunday.
Yeah, wasn't he, though? The new Shakespeare. Talked to Tom Lawrence about him. Something's got to be done about him. Oh, that wasn't his photograph in the paper, was it?
Yes, he looks very handsome.
You never met him.
In his photograph at the head of the page, he looks very handsome.
It might not be his photograph. My photograph in the Radio Times, eh? Very young, very handsome. Not mine at all. Well, like I used to be before I caught the menopause. No, I can't work in here.
You haven't tried. I'll leave you alone.
No, Mabel, don't leave me alone. Not with the menopause breathing down my neck.
Actually, you can't stay in this room because it's going to be done next. Shelves are going to be put in.
I like this room.
I knew you'd say that.
Small. I like small rooms. Yes, this is the room.
Well, it can't be.
If I leave here now, I'll never write another word.
Tom Lawrence would be delighted to hear that.
No, it's more serious than that. It's warm, it's cozy, dirty. I need somewhere I can write things on the wall, toss sheets of paper about, generally be untidy. I've been in a straitjacket too long.
You need some new clothes.
Nonsense.
Yes, you do. What can you get into now?
For best?
For anything. You're living and dying in that pair of trousers.
Well, they're comfortable.
Gordon, you've got to start losing weight.
I know, it's the country air. I'm eating like a horse.
It's drink.
It isn't. Not entirely the drink. Well, if I can't have this room, I'm going to have Kate's 2 rooms. 2 rooms! We started our married life in 2 rooms.
1.
And a bathroom.
My mother's.
I'm very glad we've been able to give dear Kate more than we had. Those 2 rooms are the best rooms in the house. They're the only ones I can work in. Where is she?
I don't know.
You don't know? Our only daughter, and you don't know where she is?
That's the marvellous thing about this house. I never know where anyone is. You can be at one end of the house. I can't hear you. You can't hear me. Kate can have a radio, everything on as loud as she likes, and we can't hear it.
Well, she'll be in the house somewhere.
Yes, or in the quite extensive grounds.
Oh, my God. How am I going to keep it down?
What?
You know what? The quite extensive grounds. How am I going to prevent it becoming the jungle it threatens to become? Oh, incidentally, have you noticed those little fleshy things lurking beneath the yew tree?
It's not a yew tree.
I know, I was just testing you. I think we might have something botanical there. Where's my book on botany?
Don't, whatever you do, fix on a particular book.
I need it.
We very much want you to fix on a particular book in the vast pile of books. You'll never find it anyway. You never could find it when you had shelves. How do you expect to find it on the floor in a tea chair?
I always know where my books are.
Not this one, and why? Anyway, it'll be at least another month before I can get out into the garden, by which time your little fleshy things will be dead, and good riddance to them.
You can't say that about a little unnamed fleshy thing.
It's bound to have a name.
No, it might be a mutation. We could be famous. I might call it Mabel Vulgari.
Don't you dare.
Ring Kew Gardens.
Gordon, you have got to stop using the phone.
Part of my job.
Not ringing Kew, isn't it?
I might be researching a botanist.
You're not. You're doing Hitler.
Trying to when I can find a room.
Ever since we moved into the country, you have not been off the phone, and you have not been sober.
And I have not been able to find a book, which is why I have to ring Kew if I am to finish rewriting the history of the Third Reich in cinematic terms.
We moved into the country so that you could feel isolated, so that you could be alone. You might just as well be in Bristol if you're going to be on the phone all the time, except that when we were in Bristol, you never were on the phone all the time. I was all the time for you. You never picked the phone up when we were in Bristol. Now, should it ring, it's a race. You always win. I can never get there first. 2 rings and you've pounced and can't be prized away. That is when you're not on it, when you haven't initiated the course. Shh. Initiated. Tom Lawrence said to me the other day, he said, Mabel, why is it I can never get through to you? Why do I always get that engaged tone thing? Because, Tom, because I said it always is engaged, Tom. I pretended you were having long conversations with famous people. Or with the Ministry of Defence.
I am.
No, you're not. Well, you are with the Ministry of Defence, but I picked up the extension in the kitchen the other day and you were breathing heavily, listening to how to make apple crumble.
I know how to make apple crumble. That was a mistake. Wrong number.
Oh, Gordon, have we done the right thing?
Yes. Moving? Yes, of course we have. I've never been happier.
Pull them up, then.
What?
Those lines on your face.
Excuse me. Must make a phone call.
Why?
I wish to keep in touch with the world.
Gordon, don't do it. Try not to. Try to be strong. You can keep in touch with the world through television and newspapers the way you always did.
Not my world. Excuse me, I wish to phone my agent.
Why? You never phone your agent. You've always said if he has anything to say, he'll phone you. He hasn't got anything to say. He can't have. He didn't have anything to say the 3 times you phoned him yesterday.
Contractual points, ensuring you a living if I should die before I finish the first draft.
Of what?
Anything. That was yesterday. Going through my contract with a fine tooth comb yesterday. Today I wish to discuss my future with him. Find out what everyone else is doing out there.
That's a very bad sign.
What?
You know the number off by heart now. You never knew the number off by heart before.
My God, you're right. That was my proud boast. Mabel, you've brought me to my senses.
Not for the first time.
You ring him.
What on earth for?
Well, let him know I'm still around.
Where do you think he'll think you've gone since yesterday?
There's no harm in keeping in touch with one's agent, especially Philip. With him, it's out of mind, out of spite. Tom Lawrence is always in the office. Now he's in London, he's always popping in. Takes Philip out to lunch every day. Philip says, who do you want to lunch with today? That's the way, lunches every day. Go on, ring Tom.
No, I'm not going to ring Tom.
I could work in the hall.
No, you are not going to work in the hall, and I'm not going to ring the Lawrences.
I could work in there. Do you remember I wrote my first play in the cupboard under the stairs?
There was no need to. We had plenty of room.
Oh, I felt a need to. Ring Tom, see who he's having lunch with today.
He's having lunch with you today.
Ah, is he?
Yes, and dinner.
They're not bringing those kids, are they?
No.
Fine. I'm looking forward to it. Right. Right then, now. Which is to be my room, Mabel?
There are 15 rooms in this house, not counting the rooms used for cooking in and the bathroom. You just choose a room for yourself. But you can't have the library. The dining room is a temporary measure. I want those books out. You can't have the drawing room, and you can't have our bedroom.
Which is our bedroom?
The room we sleep in. We decided that first of all. Gordon, you are not going to change the bedroom. All right. All right, change it. Change everything, every room, change them. Just let me know in good time where I am expected to sleep, that's all, so that I can do something about it, because I want separate rooms. I've decided.
When?
Don't you bring that thing in here.
This thing, as you call it, is the tool of my trade, and no one can take it from me. Not when everything else is gone. Everything's sold. They cannot deprive me of the tool of my trade.
Don't choose this room.
I used to write in the kitchen.
Yes, we're not going to do it again.
When did you decide to quit my bed?
Last night.
Do the children know?
You don't have any children anymore. They are young adults. Wilfred is an old adult, and why should they know anyway?
It's a serious step, quitting a fellow's bed.
Not your bed, it's my bed as well, and I'm not quitting it. I'm just going on holiday from it.
Paid?
Yes, and don't you start getting nasty.
I've got nasty lately. Have you noticed hot flushes?
I do wish you wouldn't read books that you can't absorb. You are not in the chair.
I am!
No, you're not. It doesn't happen to men.
Well, not the same way it happens to you, but it happens all the same. Started having dreams.
Yes.
You've noticed?
Yes.
What sort of dreams?
I don't know.
You know so much. What sort of dreams?
Disturbing dreams.
No, not exactly.
Well, they certainly disturb me.
You're going to have to help me through this, Mabel.
You started talking strangely.
How strangely?
Well, like...
Like I write?
No, like other people write.
People we admire?
Who do we admire?
You want a list?
Ah.
I could give you a list.
You don't admire anybody.
I do.
Not people we admire.
I admire them now. People I didn't used to admire, I do admire now because I realise their worth. Suddenly everything's become a sham, a fraud. I'm empty. My whole life has been deception. Will you stand by me, Mabel?
Where?
When? Don't you mean when?
When? Then?
When it happens.
Of course I will, Gordon.
It's not going to be easy for either of us. You start by standing by me in bed.
Why?
Because I sometimes need a cuddle. Here I am, beset by the fears and torments and the wiggling hips of the male menopause, trying hard not to run off with my young secretary.
Oh, I knew I was right.
I could still get one.
Not dressed like that, you couldn't.
No. Oh, I can't get into anything.
You said you didn't care. You said that now we'd moved to the country, you'd wear what everybody else in the country wears, good, vast, tweedy things.
Yeah, but they don't.
I know they don't. They're ridiculously smart.
Yeah, how are we going to heat it in the winter?
It won't matter the way you're running from room to room. Why can't you settle down somewhere with a steady job of work like your son? I never thought I'd be able to say that.
If I become old and grey, older and greyer, I don't know what I was going to say. I'm floored by Wilfred, what he has become. I saw him passing down a corridor the other day and he was clean and wearing his own clothes. Where is he now?
Gone for a walk.
At 11 o'clock in the morning? How long has he been up?
Since 7. I heard him moving about 7. He's very strict about getting up early. Does 3 hours work, then goes for a walk, then a light breakfast.
When they're open, you mean?
No, Gordon, he is trying.
Yes, whereas I am not, and I must pull my socks out and my lines.
Well, it would be a good idea.
You're not leaving my bed.
Well, yes, I might.
Well, good luck to you. If you know of a better bed, good luck to you.
Oh. Gordon, I've got such a lot to do. Beds.
Why are we continually using the servants' stairs?
We don't. You never do.
Do you wish me to start doing so?
No, I don't. And stop trying to start something with me, Gordon. I've got such a lot to do.
Well, it's your fault, not mine. I didn't want a housewarming. I came to the country for a quiet, cold life. Since when I haven't been able to find a quiet room in which to do Hitler. That was his problem, you know. He couldn't find anywhere quiet to sit down and collect his thoughts. He'd have been a much nicer man if he could. So would I.
You are a much nicer man.
Than who?
Than you were when, before I met you.
How do you know that?
I asked people. You were awful. I'd have hated you before I met you.
I would have been very interested in you.
Right.
I shall work in here. So do I. I've forgotten all about them.
Oh, sometimes, Gordon.
Yes, I know sometimes.
I hadn't forgotten about them.
I had, honestly. Damn! I could work in there. I know I could. I know it.
Hello? Yes? Oh, hello, Mrs. Field. Yeah, it's Wilf.
So I'll be standing on the corner by the corner shop. And I don't intend to stand there forever, so look sharp. Because I tell the sort of world a woman wants to stand about in too long, on account of, first of all, me feet, and then muggins. I'll be wearing me best hat, so you'll know who I am.
Who?
Oh, hello, Dad. How are you?
How am I? You don't talk to me like that. I'm not an acquaintance.
Oh, fine. Something wrong with the old writer, eh?
He's losing all that terrible dandruff.
Mrs. Field.
Yeah. Yes. Is she here?
Yeah.
Ah, Gordon, the bus station.
I see. What is he up to? What is that weirded beardy up to?
I expect he's gone back to his room to work.
What's his room like?
You can have his room if you want it. I'm sure he won't mind.
No, I couldn't work in his room. Ugh, dandruff.
Good. At least we know that's one room you can't work in. Is it because it's at the top of the house and once you got there you'd have to stay there?
I'll go and get Mrs. Field.
You don't have to. I can go. Or she can come in a taxi. Or Kate can go in a taxi and fetch her. I'm sure she wouldn't mind going into Stroud.
No, I'll go.
Why?
Because we have things to discuss. And anything's better than...
Working.
Yes, working.
I despair of you.
Ah, wait a minute. I remember what it was I wanted to ask you. What was it you first saw in me? What did you think of me when we first met? And what was it you liked about me, if anything? And I assume you're not a masochist. So?
You made me laugh.
Oh.
You don't anymore.
I don't make anyone laugh anymore. I've lost direction. Who is he ripping off?
Oh!
What is Wilfred doing for a living 3 days a week, in a suit? Corduroy, admittedly, but paid for by himself from some mysterious source which person will never talk to us again. Who is he, as it were, hitting on?
He is working for the Royal Shakespeare Company.
I knew it! I knew it! Straight from the social to the RSC. He's still taking it from my pocket, isn't he? I paid for that suit. I knew it! Did I also pay for that smug air and grace he's giving himself? I, the taxpayer?
I knew you'd be angry.
I'm not angry at all. What is Wilfred doing for the Royal Shakespeare Company 3 days a week? And what is more important, do they know? No, they won't know.
I don't think you ought to know.
Well, if you lose a son, it's possible to get another. There's only one Maltese falcon.
He's reading plays for us.
He's what?
Yes.
In my house?
Well, some of the time, but most of the time in his little office.
His little office?
Yes, it's very small. There are 2 of them in it.
Any office, little or not. Him? He's not fit to pass judgment on plays, is he?
I don't know.
There's something behind all this. There's more to this than him. Keep him out of my way. Does he carry them around with him, these plays of his?
Well, no, he reads them at home and then he goes into his office to write letters to people telling them what he thinks.
What he thinks? In his little office, in his little suit.
He can read.
How many of these things have you discovered in his room?
What things?
Plays.
I haven't discovered any.
Look under the bed.
He's not hiding them.
Is he brazen?
If you talk to him, you might find out.
I have built up a very good relationship with my son by shouting at him whenever he shows his face, and never under any circumstances talking to him. I'm not going to start now that he's become... Oh, I don't know what he's become. Does he bandy names?
What names?
Names of writers.
No.
I bet he doesn't.
Well, somebody has to write plays, read plays. It's a very good start for him.
Is it?
Yes, and he's taking it very seriously.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, because it's a very serious business. Do they know who he is?
Who is he?
He's my son. He has access to my life, my work. He knows me, he knows my friends, he's heard us talk, he knows what we think about people, we're often indiscreet. He could ruin the career if he... Should he say anything in the company he now keeps, he could ruin the careers of men who are dear to me. Promote the careers of men who are not. Tom Lawrence.
Oh, don't be silly. He's not reading real plays.
Well, what is he reading then?
Well, not very good plays.
Then why is he reading them and wasting the taxpayers' money when there are perfectly good plays by the likes of me, lesser-known English dramatists of a high standard?
Well, they might be good plays.
Would Wilfred know if they were?
I dare say if he comes across one that is, he will discuss it with you.
That's why they've done it. 2 minds for the price of... 1.5 minds for the price of 1. They're trying to pick my brains.
Darling, people have been trying to do that for years. It's impossible. You're unique.
Ah, I've had a thought. I'm in a unique position, aren't I? I can influence the choice of plays. Right, no Tom Lawrence. Well, actually, they deserve Tom Lawrence. No. Anyway, you can't make a living being done by the RSC, can you? Well, with Wilfred reading for them, I could. Under different names, couldn't I? Would I want to, though? He could be my entry to the fringe theatre. Would I like that? Lunchtime? I never feel like it at lunchtime, do you? Well, you never feel like it any time, and I can't do it. But if I change my name, hung around the fringe, have any of them done Hitler?
Any of who?
The new ones. I used to be relevant, biting, new. As far as I can recall, it lasted all of a week. Nobody would talk to any of us. Now all I can be is amusing.
Well, you don't amuse me.
I know. It's not so much a question of having lost direction, so much as knowing where I'm going. Have gone. It's the same with Tom Lawrence.
No, it isn't.
Well, it was this morning.
How do you know?
I had a little chat with him when you weren't looking or listening. Had a room built for himself at the top of his house with his own bathroom. But he can't work in it, can he?
Well, come on then. I haven't got all day.
What's going on in there?
Will you get the nails out of this for me?
No, I've got far too much I'm not doing. Why?
I want a bookshelf.
Oh, so do I. That's no good for a bookshelf. It's full of worm. You're not taking that into the house.
Why not? The house is full of worm already.
Not barn worm. I'm not having that going on up and down the corridors.
What?
Whatever it is worms get up to. Our worms have been dormant after centuries of inbreeding. I'm going to get Mrs. Field. Do you want to come?
No.
You've started doing that just lately. You started not coming with me when I go places. You used to come everywhere with me when you were a little girl. Very hurtful. All right, I'll go on my own. You can pull your own nails out. Open the door, please. Here.
What am I doing with your typewriter?
I can't be expected to drive a car while I'm hugging a typewriter.
I'm not asking you to.
Put it in my room, please.
Which is your room?
Aha. I leave that to your conscience.
Well, you're not having any of my rooms. He's not, is he, Mum?
Expect he is.
Well, he can't. I love my rooms.
They're the best rooms in the house for him.
They are also the best rooms in the house for me.
He doesn't like you being down the other end of the house.
Why not?
Too far away, darling, at night in case of fire.
I like those rooms. I slept in those rooms since we arrived, and I'm not moving now just because he can't find a room to work in.
Kate, what are you doing with the plank of wood?
Oh, don't you start.
Kate, you and the plank of wood don't go together.
Well, I've got to get my books up somehow.
We are not buying more shelves.
I've got more books than I had in the last house.
Where have they come from?
I don't know, but I have.
You can't have.
I have.
I've never seen so many flies.
It's farmyards and things, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Look, Wilfred settled at last.
For how long?
You have yet to make a start, young lady.
Well, I hope I don't end up reading scripts for the RSC.
You might be very glad of it one day.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Isn't it wonderful?
Good morning. Did you sleep?
Wonderful.
Morning, Kate.
Hello.
Kate,
I'll leave my plank here.
Where's Gordon?
Where are you going?
Going to get another one.
is she building something?
I don't know.
Oh, you must know.
It's very unsettling.
Oh, I know. What did I tell you, Angela?
Yes, you did tell me, Ben.
What about some coffee, Mabel? Where's the coffee pot? Like some toast, Angela?
Only if Mabel's having some.
I'm not.
I'm having some. Where's the bread?
I'm getting lunch.
Heavens! What time is it?
Heavens! My watch has stopped. It says 12:30.
It is 12:30.
I mean at night. I thought it was 12:30 at night that it had stopped.
No, darling, it stopped 12:30 now.
Oh, it hasn't stopped. All is well. It hasn't stopped. Gosh, I am ravenous.
Comes of being in love.
Comes of being in love. Quite right. Why is there a typewriter in the middle of the yard? Won't you get run over?
No. You can't expect Gordon to drive with it on his lap. I mean, you don't really expect him to do that, do you?
Wilfred is wonderful. You must be so proud of him.
What?
Darling, you didn't know him when he was, awful.
Yes. Yes, I am proud of him. And you didn't know him when he was awful either. You've been away.
No. Let's get this right. I have actually always thought Wilfred was marvelous. But you did think he was awful for a time. Quite recently, I think.
He was.
There! Won't I go get the typewriter in before it rains or
It's not going to rain, is it?
something gets damaged?
I can't bear it if it rains. I want everybody outside today. Everybody. It's not going to rain, is it?
I don't know. What does it look like to you, darling?
Oh, I don't care.
Oh, she adores the rain, don't you?
Welly boots, plotting in the rain.
I know.
Of course you do.
Now, that's what I want to talk to you about, Mabel. Now, Angela is not a child.
Ben, I can take care of myself.
I know you can. But I want to take care of you.
That is a sexist remark.
Is this a sexist remark?
What?
I haven't made it yet.
Oh, I expect it will be.
I can never keep track.
Why doesn't Angela help me in the kitchen? And you go out into the garden and help Gordon.
Of course.
I've been meaning to say that since yesterday. Good. Now I've said it. Thank you.
It is a sexist remark. It assumes I wouldn't want to go and help Gordon in the garden.
No, it doesn't.
I can't help in the kitchen, you see.
Is Gordon in the garden?
Are you dressed for the garden?
Am I?
Shouldn't you be wearing something more?
Is it cold?
Are you warm enough?
Is it windy?
I think so. Are you putting on weight?
I don't think so. Am I? Now, did you like that production of Soldiers in Spurts?
Are we starting now?
What?
Talking?
You don't mind me asking.
Have you met my wife?
Is she parking the car?
Is she still?
Can she see the typewriter?
Ah, is it an old one? Has he tossed it from a window in a dudgeon?
Can't get it to think straight, eh?
Jenny, can you see the typewriter?